Tonight on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, this Yakuza gang has been kidnapping girls, getting them hooked on drugs, and then selling them off as slaves. However, they are starting to use a new drug, and let me tell you, the side effects on this one are killer. Tonight's episode, Entrails of a Beautiful Woman.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror. A year of cuts, guts, and sluts. Tonight, we will review a movie that is in that very strange and awfully, sensual Japanese Pinku genre, where it just seems like it wants to be a horror movie, but it also wants to be a porn. But anyways, and that is a movie that is, I guess we would say, a spiritual sequel to a movie that I've reviewed before, Entrails of a Virgin. But this one is Entrails of a Beautiful Woman, otherwise known as, you don't have the kanji on there, so I don't know if it's, like Bishoujo no Harawata, or is it, Bisho no Harawata. I don't know. Anyways, I could totally be fucking all of that up. I don't know. All I know is that it's probably Harawata, because that's, the entrails. Anyways, so Entrails of a Beautiful Woman, a spiritual sequel because it has the word entrails and is very similar in theme to Entrails of a Virgin. Anyways, and it came out later. Anyways, so I believe it came out later. But what is Entrails of a Virgin about? Well, it is kind of about this little Japanese Yakuza gang, or a little mini gang within the gang. Anyways, run by this man, and apparently they kidnapped this woman and sold her to Africa. Yep, they sold her to the entire continent. Not just one country, not just one city. She was sold to Africa. Anyways, and of course, her sister is wondering where she is, and she gets caught, and they do things to her. But instead of just doing the things and then selling her to Africa, they decide that they're going to first inject her with this drug called Angel Rain. And apparently they haven't tested this drug out because it started to do kind of weird things with her veins or whatever. Anyways, she ends up escaping and goes to a local clinic where the doctor sees her, tries to patch her up, but of course she's, addicted to Angel Rain. Her sister has been sold to Africa, and she don't want to live in this world no more, so she gets up on the roof and throws herself down and turns into a watermelon and splatters all over the place. No, literally, a watermelon. Anyways, so the doctor who runs the clinic, she's just like distraught about this, so she decides that, you know what? I'm going to take on this Yakuza group, this clan, and I am going to make them pay. I'm going to make them suffer. And let's just say things don't necessarily go well for her, and the drug gets involved again, and however, they use a lot more, and let's just say bloody, nasty gore monster rape machine is created. Anyways, I'll let you imagine what goes on after that. So Moving on to the scores, violence and gore, I am going to give this one a 5 out of 5. This movie is short, but it is nastily sweet. There is like a head-crushing scene where like all that's left is like the bottom part of the jaw and blood and eyeball and just... There is like dismemberment and gut pulling. There is a phallus that is an alien ripoff, not like the full alien, but like the alien baby a ripoff of that, and let's just say a sort of ripoff of the chest bursting scene. However, the alien didn't get put in there like the Alien movie. It's a different orifice. I'm just gonna say that. Anyways, there's a lot of blood and some guts and let's say like someone gets yokuzuna to death and then comes out looking like a glazed donut and. Yeah, 5 out of 5. Moving on to shock value. Normally, I would probably say this is a 5 out of 5 because, like, listen to what I said in the gore category, and it was like, yeah. But I give it a little bit less because I'm going in there expecting a movie that's quite shocking, and perhaps that lowers it. And maybe it'd be unfair, but I'm only giving it a 3.5 out of 5 because, there are some really shocking moments, and, one would say that a very rapey movie would be very shocking to begin with, but I kind of, knew what I was getting into, and, it wasn't as, when comparing it to, Entrails of a Virgin, there wasn't that, severed hand scene, if you know what I mean, or certain scenes like that, which I would say are more shocking and a little bit more unexpected in that movie as it would be for this movie. So I don't know. I'm giving it 3.5 out of 5. But yeah, I guess perhaps is more accurate to say 5 out of 5. If you're just going in and you have no idea what a Pinku movie is all about and what to expect in this one, because yeah, you're gonna be shocked by that stuff. So take it as you will. I'm giving it a personal 3.5 out of 5. Maybe I'm just desensitized now, and that's sad. That's sad for me. Anyways, moving on to plot, I am going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. And I'm going to do that because there are some nifty and intelligent story moments in this movie that I think add to the overall impression of this film. It definitely moves it from just purely exploitative violence porn and at least gives a little bit of nuance, a little bit of kind of clever, a little bit, wasn't expecting this sort of avenue there. But that being said, it is very bare bones. There isn't a lot of character. There isn't a lot of, it's very short, once again. So there isn't a lot of room for extra expanding upon things, and of course it does spend a lot of time with the sexiness, and that kind of is a little bit of a detraction when you're just looking at it from a pure horror movie standpoint. So 2.5 out of 5, which is actually strong in considering the type of movie it is. Moving on to acting, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. I'm sorry, but most of the people in that gang are just god-awful, overplaying it, just too over the top. I do like the guy who plays the head of the little Yakuza group. I do like him. I like his presence. But overall, most everybody else is either just too much. Even the doctor, who's, I guess, the main heroine, is just a little off. A little off, anyways. But still, 2 out of 5. Not horrible. Just, maybe some of the underlings are pretty bad, but 2 out of 5. I mean, the one guy who actually had some sort of morals to him. I think did a decent job. But yeah, 2 out of 5. Moving on to Nudity, and if anyone remembers my Entrails of a Virgin review, I gave that a 6 out of 5 because yeah, it was just they just packed it in like at all times. This movie is only going to be a 5 out of 5. It is definitely not as just sex riddled as Entrails of a Virgin, but it is definitely there, and there is copious amounts of it, but in places it didn't feel as gratuitous. It was gratuitous, don't get me wrong, but it's just not as gratuitous as Entrails of a Virgin. So yeah, 5 out of 5. Moving on to enjoyment factor, and I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 because I think that the violence and gore is definitely better than Entrails of a Virgin, and it is very pleasant. This is why this movie just stands above just like a normal horror porn, I guess you would call it, a porno horror / hybrid. The violence and the gore and the kind of interesting things that happen with the plot, especially when it comes to sort of like a hypnotic suggestion situation. That stuff really elevates this for me. My big problem with the first movie, Entrails of a Virgin, is that it was like so front end loaded with sex and nudity and no real story development that it really just kind of killed it. And yeah, at the end it was great because we got more of an orgy of violence. And a similar thing, like most of the nastiness happens toward the end of this film, but there is enough stuff going on before that and enough narrative that it didn't feel tedious, and I didn't feel like, hey, let's get on with it, because there was enough stuff that was going on that was interesting that kept you engaged so that you can enjoy the bloody end. So anyway, I'm giving that a 3 out of 5. My overall impression is a 2.5 out of 5. It is almost there. It is almost there. So going back at movies, a similar type of thing. You'll have movies that are kind of almost like masterpieces in this genre, like Star of David, Beautiful Girl Hunter, where there is this balance between the sex and the violence and the story, and they kind of create what you would basically call like legitimate cinema in that situation, even though it's still legitimate. I'm just saying that, a lot of people go, oh, this was just made to be softcore porn, and therefore, it's not really a legitimate movie. It's more about titillation, my friend. Anyways, and this one is almost to that point where, it's almost there. It's almost mature enough, I guess you would say, in a way, to be that, but not quite there. So 2.5 out of 5. The average score is a very robust 3.4 out of 5 because, man, bonus points can get you there. And honestly, it's an enjoyable movie if you don't mind rapey stuff. And, that can be very upsetting for people, and I can understand that. And this is a warning, and that's, why the shock value can be up to 5 or even beyond. Because, yeah, it is a degradation. These are bad people doing horrible, bad things. But then, again, you want them to be hated so that when their horrible demise happens, you're like, yes! Fuck you! Asshole! Anyways, so, 3.4 out of 5, hitting those wonderful wonderful bonus points. Anyways, so there you have it. Entrails of a Beautiful Woman. I know that when I've read other people's reviews, especially in comparison with Entrails of a Virgin, that people tend to prefer Entrails of a Virgin more. And so maybe I had a little bit lower expectations going in on this because people were saying that this was weaker. And honestly, I think it's the opposite. I think this is better. I think this improves on that formula way more than it takes or goes back or gets worse, I guess you would say. It's definitely better. It's definitely an improvement. They tidied up the sex scenes and the nudity, and they paid more attention to actual story, and they definitely didn't skip on the nasty, gory parts. So honestly, I enjoy it more, and I think it's better. But tell me what you think. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me? Do you think it's just gross and nasty? I mean, it could be. I mean, it's all up to you. It's in the eye of the beholder. So anyways, thank you for watching another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror and putting up with me battling the urge to cough because I've got this gigantic frog in my throat at this moment. And, I could get some nice thirst-quenching vodka to get rid of that, or I could go with this water that I'm going to totally down when I'm done with this video. Anyways, so tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And remember, everyone, internet land, stay scary. And also, I don't get the idea of giving the victims the experimental, high-grade, super expensive drug. I mean, isn't just regular heroin good enough to hook them for their sail to the country of Africa? The land of Africa. I'm just saying, the expensive experimental drug, maybe, save that for the paying clients. I'm just saying. Also, because you run the risk of turning one of them into a bloody, violent rape monster. I'm just saying. Ah!